And welcome to match number 3. We're going into Erangel one more time. Well, for now, we have got another one in the back pocket still. But match number 3 is underway. The plane path from...
Horrid time so far in this tournament at 12 points. It's not the worst thing that could happen to them. Realistically, they just need one good game on the day. And if they can keep going on this trajectory, they'll be fine. This was the rollout over towards Silas. He was attempting to get towards our Wizard Tower, some kind of position to hold strong in, but nice pop pass as they can, pushing through the middle of the field. But where do they go from here? And a nasty tire burnout from King. Well played from Orangutan. Should be able to pick up that elimination. No, Xavier actually finding that off on the side as they assault the position. You're right about them holding on to these spots, but Xavier, the rest of the backers coming in through thick and fast, but a good step up from Sing there.
Can't quite find the crossfire for Xavier. Now a nade in hand for Xing. There's 2 players in action on the inside here, AJ and Xing, both holding one door frame as Paragin. Nade as well. Xavier, they are cut down to 2, and R8 are here to play. Current lobby leaders, they want another piece of the pie. And in they go. 4 players alive on side. They push on up, and 3 players now in action on the inside. They get the res for Thundertalk, and they get the heal off as well. This is going to be crucial, and Xavier may have a shot. R8, though, storm the gates. They are not going to allow Thundertalk out the back here with a Molotov, forcing them to stay around, and a second knock, a third. R8, a tidal wave of force rolling on into the compound.
Yeah, this is a weird time to third party. You're not really third party. You're just entering the fray here. Warzone now available for RA, but plenty of points to pick up. A total of 5 here if they're able to make it happen. Paragin should find the Murray. The rest of RA were not there to respond. Bit of inaction there, in my opinion. Playing on both warehouse doors, 2 and 2. But no one really ready to refrag him as he went for that nade. It's a good play from Paragin pushing up the way he did. Now it's in a 2v2.
And Xavier, who looked like they were on the ropes. They had 1 player knocked on the outside, a full force R8 to deal with, but gets caught on a tire, and now maybe they're back where they started. Unfortunate, but R8 still continue to win out these fights, continue to impress. They're up to 5 elims now. They lost a player to an unfortunate push there and got through fairly unscathed. Massive confusion tactics as they move out in a straight line, swerving left and right, and nobody seems to be able to understand what's going on, least of all me. They've managed to make it to Severny. I don't even know why you would choose to go to Severny. It's not necessarily the strongest spot right now, but they'll get there. They'll be safe for another circle.
Yeah, I think that they assume that the only area that's still free of space is probably Severny, considering it's on the western side of the circle. I don't think they're taking into consideration the previous circle, though, in which case quite a lot of teams would have wrapped onto this spot. ESO goes down, sadly, to QXZ, who has held this position for quite some time. I think most teams just weren't prepared to take shots and were worried that shots would be taken at them if they stepped up there versus GS, because it is such open land over towards that eastern side, which is not fun always to rotate through. Obviously, GS has a much easier time of it.
Somehow, I mean, it felt like Mad Bulls should have had massive broadside on them, but just was not to be. Kara, they take a knock, but not going to be flushed just yet. Alpha 7 want to descend on the position, though. Look at that forward pressure. Moving in for Obscure, playing close, and Marceau goes down. Lewis up on high, trapped out in the blue, and Kara have nothing to say about it. This is a brilliant little piece by Alpha 7, picking up a nice... Wolves still holding their little ridge line. Higgles, really an important feature of their hold right now. The only thing that's stopping E-Arena fully overwhelming this position. Them and DRX, to be fair, from the north, a potential third party on the road crossing, but they're establishing their smoke lines. This, though, is the opportunity for Wolves to bring Doran back to his feet. If they can get back to fighting force, that is huge. And a pick-off onto Morven is even bigger to keep the Wolves safe on that southwest side. In the meantime, on the southeast, you've got Ulf pushing their way through. They need to get past what remains of R8, which is Prestige, and the Mad Bulls, who seem to be completely reluctant to take shots at anyone. So perhaps easier than they thought it would be. A knock sent over towards Coops, though, and there's that trade-off. E-Arena still making this fight navigable.
Batten has to push that. Like, he has no choice but to push that. sadly, now down to just Hygors off in the backside. I don't really know what Batten's game plan was there. He's just running backwards and forwards. As soon as your two teammates get knocked, you have to relieve pressure, right? And the only way to do that is to hope that Hygors is able to hold out players peeking from the window as you push up and take down the player underneath. Alpha 7 gets some great nades over towards Regn and Karya. We'll flush them out. In the meantime, Mad Bulls is currently absolutely tearing their way through Ulf.
We had a word from our eyes on the ground from 7WG. He gave us some info
earlier, but RA still have profited massively of this game. Immediate shot from Revo over towards Pusher. Kulika straight down, and more nades been sent over the top. That nade was so on target as well. Very unfortunate, doesn't take down Flip. Luckily, there's another angle from the side from Obscure. This is a fantastic hold from Alpha 7. You love to see it.
I mean, they're playing with the barest of scraps, but they are making one hell of a broth right now. They'll add the chicken to it in a bit. That's what they hope anyway. GS moving on up through DRS as well, and it looks like there's no retribution just yet. The hot through, again, not working with the DBS, but it is going to be the drop down, turn the corner. It's going to work out. Jafar, though, we've seen him anchor these positions before for GS. Last man standing. He did it against APG. Can he do it again here? A long-range shot. Real hopeful with the DBS on that one, but puts him back behind the corner, and Arena are going to be a third party to it. Jafar still, though, moving up to the top rope. Looking to try and drop the elbow, but maybe overexposed now as teams across the way. They'll get his sightlines. That woolly hat looks mighty tasty as a point, but he's got more to say.
He's down. He's
count here after getting rid of Wolves. They have got that little ridgeline to move up towards. They're going to work it out. Prestige, last to stand for RA. Takes a lot of damage, and you've got to imagine that this is going to be done and dusted, but he finds a nade. Will fall, though, to Mormon's answer. And R8 down, but in fourth place with 6 elims. Blank, it's again a good game for our table toppers. Let's see what everyone else can do, though, as Alpha 7 continue to extend their line of influence. Orangutan, they're up into third.
I think the thing is about Orangutan is that they're consistently getting towards end games, but it hasn't looked pretty. It has looked pretty bad, honestly. Last game hiding. You got to respect that they were making it far into a lot of these games, but again, it's hard to say. I mean, this playstyle does technically work. If they're able to pull this off at an international level, there's nowhere where I can say that, you know, hiding will only get you so far for so long. It's like they're already doing it at an international level, so you gotta give them praise for that. But it's definitely not going to get you a first place.
No, not first, but maybe a 7th. Right, that's maybe what they're looking for. I did have a little correction from 7WG, who I gave some info that he said to be on 19 from the elims they found already, and then you add on the placement points as well. But this is their big test, moving against the Arena.
They lied. They straight lied, dude. They have not adjusted tactics for elims at all. Yeah, it's been another slow game. Some okay nades, though. I'll give him that. This one to the side does find a little bit of damage there. Good shot from Kriov in the distance towards WizGod. Again, you're exposing yourself towards the beachhead on that jump up. I think this is exactly why Arena is playing down this position. This should be a textbook Alpha 7 win, though, and one that couldn't have come sooner. I think for Brazilian fans, this is a very, very good way for Alpha 7 to save face after what had been a couple of pretty upsetting games.
This is hopefully their game to take, but never say never, as the Arena still have got a shot onto this one, and the nades aren't quite connecting towards the Arena. Revo under danger, under threat here. The nades are still coming out for him. He's like a mortar turret there in the grass, but it's only a matter of time before he gets spotted. Orangutan, though, in the meantime, getting put through the mincer. Having a real tough time. Their backline's cut down to 2. The heal comes out, but Alpha 7, they're faltering a bit on their 3-man push here. Not quite as effective as maybe they would have liked. They do hold a lot of ground. That is their major asset right now, Blank, but it is all up pushing, and that is not the way to do it. One knock found, a second needed, necessary to take down Orangutan right here and now, but they're not going down without a fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is bad news. They absolutely need to keep 3 players up, otherwise this happens with E-Arena. They immediately reposition. The reason they were taking the fights on towards that high ground, though, is specifically so they could dominate over towards E-Arena later on. But I think that initial knock has been a little bit worrisome. I still think Alpha 7 has a strong chance to finish this one out strong, though.
Yeah, with just Sakura now remaining, Mormont getting that knock onto Carrillo made me worry, but there was an answer. Carrillo kind of missing that spray, but it's not going to matter. The numbers still firmly in the favor of the Brazilians now. As Rizal moves out, Sakura takes some shots, but there's an answer from the side window. The lean out shows him the shoulder, and it is a cold one. Alpha 7 put them to sleep.